It seems like everyone is hurting from the war in Ukraine. The West is having domestic political problems because of its financial support to Ukraine. While Russia has lost valuable trade partners, also European nations have taken a hit because of their recent energy crisis. But some countries actually benefit from the conflict. One of these countries is Norway. The Scandinavian nation is printing money right now because it is one of the few European countries with oil and gas reserves. When the energy crisis hit in 2022, Norway's oil and gas revenues tripled, earning $140 billion in a year. Most of this money goes to the Norwegian government, which has a 67% stake in the nation's energy giant Equinor. Keep in mind that this is a country of 5.5 million people, so these billion-dollar oil revenues are even more insane. There's one problem though: the nation is also getting an increased amount of criticism. It's because of profiting from the war in Ukraine and not giving enough support to fund the Ukrainian war effort. Norway is a NATO member, so it has to play its part in the alliance's goal of defending Ukrainian sovereignty. In this video, let's take a look at how Norway is getting incredibly rich of its natural energy resources. Please hit that like button down below. YouTube doesn't support channels independently covering news stories, so we need your help in the algorithm. With your support, we can keep making videos like this. Alright, get back to Norway. Why Norway is getting so much money? We first need to look at the first year or two of the Ukrainian war in particular. We need to look at the Western sanctions that were placed on Russia. We all know that Russia is a major oil and gas producer. It's in the top 3 oil-producing countries, closely tracking the United States and Saudi. Before 2022, Russia was primarily selling its reserves to Europe. It was the ideal export market because Russia was able to create a network of pipelines, linking it directly to its customers. Nord Stream 1 and 2 pipelines were crucial for this because they directly linked Russia with Germany. Germany is an important customer because it's the largest energy consumer in Europe due to its advanced industries including chemicals and automotive. Angela Merkel was Germany's leader at the time when the Nord Stream pipeline was created. Her policy was all about progress through trade. But things took a turn in 2022. Russia's invasion of Ukraine wiped off years of progress. Putin did the unthinkable and invaded another sovereign nation, which was the red line for its Western trade partners. Suddenly, European nations faced an impossible dilemma. Through the years, they got increasingly reliant on cheap Russian energy to fuel their economy. But now, Russia was using their money to fund the war effort in Ukraine. Most of Russia's oil and gas companies are majority state-controlled, particularly the giants Gazprom and Rosneft. In total, nearly half of the Kremlin's budget comes from the oil and gas industry. This was ultimately why European nations decided to cut Russian oil and gas from their energy supply. Although they never really went to zero, Russia has lost some significant profits, but due to the inflation of energy prices and energy sales to China and India, Russia's oil and gas revenue hasn't been completely diminished. Another unpleasant side effect was the huge energy crisis in 2022. On top of the ban on oil and coal, Gazprom decided to briefly cut all its natural gas supply to Europe in mid-2022. The objective was to create an even bigger energy shortage during the winter months to create political and economic chaos in the European Union. This is where Norway comes into the picture. Norway has relatively small quantities of oil and gas, with the 22nd largest oil reserves and 17th largest natural gas reserves globally, despite not having a tremendous amount of oil and gas. It was enough to make the country incredibly rich over the years. In 2022, Norway got even richer than it already was because of the energy shortage that followed the Western sanctions. Energy producers other than Russia hit the jackpot. Oil prices exceeded $100 per barrel, which is historically a pretty high level. It's more than double the price of 2020. Norway got a ton of market share in the European energy market. The country is now the largest oil supplier to Germany, the biggest European energy consumer. In general, Norway is now the second largest oil supplier, closely tracking the United States with $52 billion versus $57 billion. It has also become the largest natural gas supplier to the EU. Norway currently, it's making a lot of money without even increasing production.